My name is Awais, and I am a practicing Muslim. My faith teaches me to worship God, or Allah, alone, and that faith is manifest in almost every aspect of my life. The excellence that I try to bring here to fellow Amazonians is a reflection of what I believe to be God's excellence. The kindness that I try to show to my friends, family, co-workers is a reflection of the kindness that God has bestowed upon me for all the blessings He's given me. And the patience that I've tried to show in all kinds of challenges at a global and local level reflect the patience that God has towards any of the mistakes and ingratitude that I might show. I love the space that Interfaith at Amazon has created to share and learn about each other's beliefs.
I'm Denise Segler. I'm an eclectic pagan witch. I believe that Source, the divine, doesn't care what you call it. I believe that we're all part of Source. I interact with Source by honoring nature and my place within it. I follow the seasons, the cycles of the moon, the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth that exist throughout the seasons of the year. I meditate, I keep a journal, I cast circles, I light candles, and I sing with intention.
Hey everyone, Stephen Matlock here, and I'm a follower of the Carpenter from Nazareth, and I aim to emulate the good works that he demonstrated. In my personal journey, I use meditation, study, prayer, reading, journaling, as well as the time I spend with his other followers. And I work to build a more just and equitable community in the spirit of reconciliation and restoration through acts of mercy and giving. And I would hope that at the end of my life, I have done everything I could to bring good and to do good. Thank you.
Hi there, fellow Amazonians. My name is Gina Chung. I identify as Muslim, and you caught me in my sport hijab. I have a tennis match in a few minutes. I just wanted to take a moment to say that as a Muslim, it's incumbent on me to really go out and discover and explore and get to know all of God's creation. And so I look forward to doing that with all of you. I know that together we can make Amazon a bigger, better, more robust and unified place to work. I really look forward to doing that with you.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm a Christian. God broke through to me when I was a 16-year-old rebel, convincing me that I needed to turn to Him and have Him take His place at the center of my life. And that's where He's been ever since, compelling me to walk the path He set before me. But He has to pick me up once in a while, as I stumble and fall, or still may be prone to go my own way. I look forward to hearing other people's beliefs and more openly working out how we practice this at work.
Hey, what's up, Amazon? My name is Maggie. I currently identify as a Christian, but if I was being honest, I have no idea, and I'm trying to figure it out. So one of the ways that I'm doing that, practicing my faith, is through prayer and meditation. It's nothing fancy. I've got my coffee, I've got a notebook, a book that I'm reading, trying to learn more about God, who God is, and how I can become more like God if I can. If it all works out, I'm a kinder, more loving, more generous, and more inclusive person in my personal life, but also here in the workplace.
Hi, my name is Saabir Shabdi, and I practice Islam. My faith is centered around belief in one God. In Arabic, we would refer to Him as Allah, which literally translates to one God, and to observe practices and behaviors of His last prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him. My religion and practice is a simple one. It's to observe the obligations God has imposed on me, to respect the rights of fellow brothers and sisters in humanity, and to the best of my abilities observe prayer, fasting, charity, and pilgrimage to Mecca. I wish you all peace and look forward to engaging you all as part of Interfaith at Amazon.
Hi, my name is Dilpreet Singh, aka Robbie Singh. I'm a strategic partner executive here at AWS, and that's my son, Sivan Singh, and we belong to Sikh faith. Sikhism was founded in 1469 by our first Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and became the fifth largest religion in the world. We believe in one God, and we follow His three golden rules. Pray every day, earn honest living, and share your earnings with the people who is in need. Today, 99% of the people who wear turbans in the United States belong to Sikh faith. To learn more about Sikhism, please reach out to me at fed.singh or sikhnet.com. Thank you.
I'm Craig Florick. I was raised Roman Catholic, and my practice is really been developed as I go, picking up from various cultures, various religions, and what I've learned in my studies. Now I sit in a place that I believe all religions and all beliefs are accurate, and it's just an understanding from the perspective that we're looking at it from. I look forward to hearing more about what everybody else's practices and beliefs are as well.
Recognition.
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 Celebration.
And dialogue.
We are Interfaith at Amazon.
We are Interfaith at Amazon.
We are Interfaith at Amazon.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, just first of all, for taking the time to sit and to listen, to engage with some of our amazing colleagues, Amazonians. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is actually our third year hosting this Ramadan Ask Me Anything panel. So hopefully by now I'm a familiar face. You have had the privilege of hosting this panel these last 3 years, and hopefully you'll see some familiar faces joining us in the panel this year as well. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome our panelists to join me on camera. Give us a wave. There we go. So good to see everybody. There we go, there we go. Okay, is this everybody? Yes. Well, cool. Thank you guys so much. Raise your hand just briefly if this is your second or third panel with us. Yeah, a couple. We've got a couple new folks joining, so I love the mix. In true Amazon fashion, before we really get into the subject at hand, why doesn't everybody give a brief introduction, as well as so name, location, role, and what are some of your favorite foods to eat at suhoor and or iftar? If you don't know what those are, we will explain later. But yeah, kick us off, Mimi.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be back for my third year. So I'm Mimi. I am a senior customer success manager. I'm currently based out of Austin. And suhoor is what we eat in the morning before sunrise. And I generally don't like to eat in the morning. I just drink a cup of water, maybe a cup of coffee, so I don't die during the day. And then for iftar, which is the time we break our fast in the evening, I love to break my fast with dates, especially filled dates, like, oh my God, almond paste filled dates. I die. They're amazing. My favorite. Irfan, if you want to go.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Irfan Rydhan. I wanted to congratulate everybody on the Ramadan Mubarak, even though we are, almost halfway through now. but I am from San Jose, California, and I'm a facilities coordinator in Palo Alto. And what I like to eat for suhoor, which is the pre-dawn meal, is actually, I'm trying to be a little bit healthier this year. So I try to do like the, heavy protein with, Greek yogurt and with some fruit, blueberries, and trying to go as healthy as possible. And then obviously drink a lot of electrolyte water to get, so I don't get dehydrated. And once in a while, I try to avoid drinking coffee or tea in the morning just because I'm trying to avoid that. But today I did because, I got to be a little bit more alert today. so that's what I did today. Thank you.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. I'm Komal. I'm based out of the Toronto location, and I'm a product manager within the Buy with Prime and multi-channel fulfillment orgs. For me, my go-to for the morning meal is a date, banana, and peanut butter smoothie. I love it. I make sure I make it every morning. It wakes up the whole house, but it works for me, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I blend it fresh. So that's what I have in the morning. In the evening, honestly, depends on my mood, but I think the usual go-tos are samosas and fruit salad and things like that. But yeah, I change it up every day. I think Saber, you can go next.
All right, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. My name is Saber. I'm operations manager based out of Minneapolis. I am in the SSD network. So if you order stuff and you get it within the same day, we are SSD, the fastest delivery. For me, iftar, I like to do fruits mixed with yogurt and condensed milk. It is like really amazing. So every year, that's like my go-to thing for iftar to break my fast after the dates.
I think Edgar, we got you next in line.
Nice. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Well, I'm Edgar. I'm based out of California. I'm with the Op Excellence team, so with the task force team. So essentially, we are just going from site to site, helping them out if they need some support. Um, Also with the SSD network, just like Saabir. Currently, I'm working at SMI1 in Michigan, which is, alhamdulillah, it's a great experience. It's the largest Muslim population in the United States in these communities right here and in our facility, right? So it's super cool to be here during Ramadan. If you go down the local communities, you would think it's Christmas. It's not. It's Ramadan. Everyone has lights out, decorations out. It's super cool. What I like to start my fast with in the morning, same like Irfan, I'm trying to be healthy. So I have a nice protein smoothie. I throw a bunch of dates in there, lots of healthy stuff, just to keep me hydrated throughout the day, and some Celtic salt that my wife bought, and I just keep it, just throw some under my tongue, and that helps keep me hydrated and retain all that water. And my favorite thing to eat during for iftar is I've been just having like really good free range, natural organic steak like every night. Just look forward to having some steak. And luckily we could go right here, at least in Dearborn, go to the local butcher and they'll chop you up some steak and they'll grill it right there for you. So it's pretty cool.
Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. My name is Omar Shallan, Omar Shallan, if it's a little bit easier to say. I am based virtually out of New Jersey. I am a senior program manager with the multi-channel fulfillment team under the Santos org. Favorite food, or generally what I have pre-fasting, is generally just dates and water. It's been like that ever since I started operations, and it gives me a lot more energy than I honestly thought, but it works really well. It's been working really well so far the last few years. In terms of breaking my fast meal, I just dig right in. So I haven't been healthy this Ramadan, to be very honest. So I usually start with dates if we pray, and then just go right into any meals that are already cooked. My favorite meal will be mahshi, which is stuffed vegetables, any type of vegetable, as long as you can stuff it with some rice or some meat. It's usually one of my top favorite.
I mean, the smile that just came on your face talking about iftar. I wish I could be there. Well, thanks, y'all. It's a pleasure to know you and for you guys to have the opportunity to get to know these folks as well. We're gonna give you a quick introduction to Ramadan for those of you who this is your first time joining us in the live stream. So Mimi and Omar, why don't you break it down for us in really, really simple terms if you can. Omar, maybe kick us off.
Okay. Yeah, so in the basics, Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars that we have in Islam. The 5 pillars you could essentially think of as the most important things that we have.
in our religion that is kind of priority number one. Fasting is one of them. One of the things that we believe about fasting in general, outside of Ramadan, is that it is something that we're prescribed to other religions. Other religions fast as well. We're not the only religion that chooses to fast as a form of an act of worship or an act of ritual within the religion. In terms of the purpose of Ramadan and why do we have to fast for 30 days, a lot of the misconception is that it's done to um, kind of understand what those who are needy are going through. But at the same time, those who are less fortunate also get to fast in Ramadan. Even if they don't have enough to break their fast with, we'll talk about that later about how we support those in need throughout the month of Ramadan. But essentially, it's done as a form of self-discipline. So Muslims believe that we have a body, we have a soul. During Ramadan, you kind of restrict a lot of the bodily desires that maybe you may have, things that you normally would be allowed to do, just like eating food, drinking water, and so on and so forth. You kind of restrict that to focus more on the soul aspect of your life. So the spiritual thing that you generally do, disciplining yourself and understanding that, oh, if I could stop myself from doing things that are normally allowed, then it should be significantly easier for me to stop myself from doing things that God doesn't want me to do, or things that are generally not allowed in my faith. So that's essentially what Ramadan is and what it encompasses. It's an aspect of self-discipline to be able to attain a level or a greater level of God consciousness throughout the rest of the year.
Thanks, Omar. That's very helpful for someone like me, kind of on the outside, wanting to support my colleagues, my friends. Maybe why don't you break down the logistics of it? How long is it? Is it the same time every year?
No, so it's from pre-sunrise, or we call it Fajr, to sunset or Maghrib, and it changes based on the location of where you're at. Our prayers can vary from location to location. This year it runs from March 10th to potentially April 10th, depending on the moon sightings. That's how we decide when we're going to start. It's based on the lunar calendar, so it could be 29 to 30 days, and it actually moves back an average of 11 days every year. So I'm really excited that it's during the spring, because I remember when it was in the summer, and I don't know about you guys, but it was like, whoa. It was intense. But I think the most common thing is a lot of people outside of the faith assume this is a time of just fasting. But, and I always get this of like, oh man, that really sucks. You can't eat all day. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, this is amazing. This is a time where we're doing so many great things like charity and community driving and remembrance and things like that. And so we'll get into that. I'm really excited to talk more about what we do during this time outside of fasting. But if you look back on our previous videos, we did review like the basics of Ramadan, some of the things that challenges us during this time, excuse me, and please feel free to review and look back. And there's a lot of information then too of like how you can support your colleagues during this time as well.
I love that. Yes, please check out those previous videos if you have the chance. And like Mimi said, the bulk of today, we're going to focus on what else is there to Ramadan. And I think if you're anything like me on the other side, you will walk away from this conversation with so much more respect for your Muslim colleagues, so much admiration for all of the work that they do day in, day out, that you don't necessarily see, that helps them treat their neighbors, the people in their lives, people that they don't know, just with more compassion and generosity. So thank you all for taking part in that and being committed to that. So prayer, I know that that's a big part of Ramadan. Talk to me, Saabir, about maybe your experience with prayer during Ramadan, or Islam as a whole.
Yeah, so prayer is one of the pillars, the 5 pillars, as Omar mentioned earlier. So the second pillar, there's 5 daily prayers obligated on all Muslims throughout the year. So in Ramadan, this is the holiest, most blessed month. So and then prayer as a form of worship, you have to pray your 5 daily prayers. And outside of that, there's Tahajjud, Taraweeh, the Sunnah prayers. So I'll start with the Taraweeh. Taraweeh will happen after the last prayer, Isha. So it's about 1 to 3 hours. You can pray this in your own home, or you can pray at the mosque with everyone else. And then there's Tahajjud that will usually happen right in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. You get up, you do your prayers as a form of worship, because the Taraweeh and the Tahajjud are not obligated, but people will pray those so that they can be closer to their faith and to Allah. It's narrated that the Prophet, peace be upon him, would isolate himself the last 10 nights of Ramadan, just focus on his prayers. So you'll see a lot of Muslims do the same. For example, in my operations, we run 24/7. I have a lot of associates that work night shift, so they would want to switch to a day shift schedule so that they're able to do their prayers overnight. And that's something that we were able to accommodate with the help of PXT and other resources available at the site. For me personally, I focus more on the Tahajjud, as the Quran was revealed during the month of Ramadan, and there is a night in there that is better than 1,000 months, so which will cover that a little bit in a little bit. So if you are focusing on your prayers that night, the whole Ramadan, and then you happen to be nobody knows that night. So, but if you're praying, it's better than 1,000 months. So you can imagine the magnitude and the importance of prayers and Laylatul Qadr and all the other things that Muslims will do the month of Ramadan. Yeah.
And that's usually in the last 10 days, right?
Yeah. So the last 10 days, that's for the Tahajjud, and then the Taraweeh every night after the Isha prayer. So between 1 to 3 hours.
This is a really silly question.
Yeah.
How do you keep track of it all? One of my favorite things about Islam is there's so much tradition, and I think there's so much depth to it too, that are there, again, it's very silly, are there guidebooks or I don't know, universal pamphlets or things? How do you keep track of it all?
So for me personally, with the technology right now, there's a lot of phone apps. So there's a lot of different phone apps that will give you reminders. Hey, it's Asr or Fajr. It's the Sunnah prayers. It will give you a little notification. It's time to pray. So that's how I use the phone. I'm not sure. I'm sure everyone uses different kind of ways to keep track of everything. Yeah.
I use the old-fashioned printed calendar that I keep on my fridge for the prayer time. So, I'm kind of old school that way.
That's awesome. Now, is everybody on this call, do you have a favorite prayer? Is that a thing? Or maybe one that has been most meaningful to you in your own spiritual practices?
I'd love to share. I personally really love Tahajjud. Islamically, it's said that if there's anything that you could possibly want, that if you pray Tahajjud prayer every night for some odd nights, you're likely to get it. And it's funny, personal story. My sister loves to pray Tahajjud prayer as well. And for several months, she would pray for me and my siblings and was like, please let this person get a job. Please let this person be in a relationship. Please let this person find this and stuff. And it was so funny when I actually ended up meeting my partner. She's like, yes, my prayers, they came true. And I was like, you need to calm down, child.
That's funny. Anybody else want to share about prayer?
Yeah, so one of the ones that I generally like, and it's usually the quietest time, would be either Isha, which is the last one at night, or Fajr, which is the earliest one that you would do. Generally, it's outside of work in almost all seasons. And at the same time, it's kind of when, like, you're the calmest, you might have eaten dinner already, you might be just going to bed, or you just woke up in the morning. Things are calm, nothing is happening yet, no one is messaging you at work. Everything is kind of calm and still, that you could potentially start your day or end your day on that note. So it has a different vibe to it, you can say.
Well,
Yeah, I
see you
agree.
didn't get.
I was gonna say, like, I think the morning prayer for me, if when I'm able to wake up for it and set my alarm, get up, I think there's so much you can get done before the workday starts. Morning prayer, like meditation. I think we'll talk about zikr in a bit, but there's so much you can do just in those morning hours, and just 1 hour or 2 hours of that in the morning feels like you've achieved a lot already before your day starts. So I feel like the morning prayer is the best, at least for me.
Thanks, y'all, for sharing that. Next topic, Irfan. This one's for you. Charity. I know it's a big deal, especially in Ramadan. What is it called in Arabic? I feel like y'all are throwing out some words that I'm like, wait, what? What does that mean? So teach us here.
Yeah, so another pillar of Islam is called zakat, which is charity. So there's different kinds of charity in Islam. Zakat is an obligatory charity that all Muslims are supposed to do once a year, once a lunar year, basically. And then the other kind of charity is called sadaqah, which is a voluntary charity. So basically, most people, because we have to do it once a year for the zakat, most people give their zakat in Ramadan, because everything that we do in Ramadan is, we get more blessings, more rewards in the sight of God for doing that, anything that we do. So that's why, I myself personally do that. So basically, we have the tradition based on the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who had given us the minimum threshold, which is called nisab in Arabic. And just, it's a little bit complicated. We can do a whole panel on zakat, but just a brief, a really quick summary is like, you have a set amount based on gold and silver, because back then, 1400 years ago, that was the most of the people were using gold and silver, which is actual real money. It's not like what we have today. But so currently this year, the value of the nisab in gold is about $6,000. So if someone has had $6,000 in their wealth for 1 year, that means they have kept at least $6,000 worth of wealth, and the wealth can be, like their income. In today's world, there's stocks are included, or 401k, and if people have jewelry, that's all included as your wealth. So, alhamdulillah, most of us here in North America, we have to, we have that much. So we give 2.5% of our wealth to charity. So usually that's given to people in need, Muslims in need, and usually the tradition is to give to your relatives first who are in need, and then you give to your local community, and then after that we give to, we can donate anywhere around the world. And Of course, there's a lot of people suffering all over the world, and so there's a lot of need. So that's why uh, we give in Ramadan to get the benefits of that. And just briefly on Sadaqah, so Sadaqah is like I said, a voluntary charity, and I think in the Jewish tradition they have a similar term actually. I forgot the exact, but it sounds very similar because Semitic language, so it's very similar. But basically, we have to give, or we were not required, but we're encouraged to give some kind of charity every day. And for sadaqah, it doesn't have to be money. It can be anything to help someone out. Even a smile on your face. You're smiling to someone, that's considered charity in Islam, or helping someone, or picking up some trash on the road. Those are all considered a sadaqah charity. And we believe in, or at least most Muslims believe that this form of sadaqah and charity, doing something every day, something good, it's kind of like most people consider karma, where you do something good will happen to you, and vice versa. So it's kind of like a protection for the believers. So that makes sure that you keep doing good every day, and it will prevent something bad happening to you, inshallah.
Thanks, Irfan. That's some really special stuff. Kamal, talk to me about, let's break that down a little bit further. Specific things that you can do in addition to smiling.
Hi all, my name is Awais, and I am a practicing Muslim.
What else?
Yeah, so other than, I guess, within charity, you could obviously donate to a number of places. One of the key things within Ramadan is feeding the needy. As I think we were mentioning in the intro, we fast to also understand how, those who are in need and those who don't have enough resources feel, and, when they don't have enough food or water. So the idea is like, feeding the needy is one of the key aspects also of Ramadan, and there's a bit of a technicality attached to it within Ramadan. So Ramadan is specifically for 30 days, or 29, 30 for a month each year, and our aim is to fast all of those days, right? So if someone is not able to fast, for a specific reason being, and those reasons could be either they're unwell, they're sick, or a pregnant woman, or someone is traveling, those are considered kind of valid reasons for not being able to fast, then we are meant to make those up after Ramadan. So we're meant to kind of track, to your earlier question, how do you track things? We are meant to track, like, okay, I missed like 2 days or 3 days this month, I'm meant to make them up later. If I'm not able to make them up for whatever reason later, then I should be feeding at least one needy person for each missed fast. So there's, this kind of, it's not like, oh, I didn't fast, okay, let's go on with it. But like, there is kind of a balance, and we're meant to feed at least one needy person. That's kind of the minimum. And then I was reading, there's also, if someone doesn't fast without, a valid, or like a considered valid reason, then they're actually meant to feed 60 needy people for each missed fast. So
60? 60?
Correct. Yeah, so our aim is to make sure that we don't miss any of the fasts as much as possible, of course, keeping our healths in check. But then the aim is also, in addition to fasting, we still try and feed the needy. It's not like, oh, you only feed the needy if you're missing a fast, right? We should still try and feed the needy. We should still try and do as much charity or good things that we're able to do in addition to the fasting, so that we're kind of just adding to all our, I guess, good deeds this month. Do as much as possible. Keep pushing yourself. So that's where the technicality comes in. But yeah, this month is about, making sure everyone is well fed.
I just want to add into that, local mosques also like get the people involved, and they host huge events every night to feed. I know for my personal mosque, we also get everybody together, and we do one big day where we work at a food bank and pack food, so that we could feel like we've also supported in that way too.
I love that it's like this is gonna really simplify it. That it's like if you mess up or if you miss, like make it up to other people. It's like an extension of it's not this like pointless like do better, but just like be better for other people. And I think that's really special. In very simple terms, perhaps. Okay, next. Solitude. Omar, would you talk to me a little bit about how that is worked into Ramadan?
So Ramadan is meant to be a balance between having some time to yourself and having that solitude, and also being with the community. A lot of the acts of worship that are done in the month of Ramadan are encouraged to be done in groups or in congregations. So you'll find people going to the mosque to pray in congregation a lot more for the five daily prayers. You'll find mosques filled with children, with men and women, with activities for the kids. A lot of mosques will have like mommy sitting or daddy sitting areas, like specific rooms so that parents can bring their kids, and even if their kids are making noise, they can still bring their kids and have them pray with next to them or even play next to them. Some mosques will have babysitting. Some mosques will. One of the local mosques actually, when I went to them, they announced that they're giving out gifts for any basically young kids that are fasting for the first year or trying to fast for the first year. So even if you're not completing the full day, but at least you're trying, they have like kind of like a care package that they're giving to them. So a lot of acts of worship are encouraged to be done in person and to be done as a community. You'll find mosques will have programs throughout the day to encourage people to come to the mosque, whether it's learning, whether just having food together. Like Mimi said, a lot of mosques will host iftars for the community, and it's sponsored by other community members. So it's not necessarily sponsored by the mosque, but for example, my parents, they hosted the iftar meal, which is the breaking fast meal for the community in one of our local mosques last Monday. So my mom cooked, my dad and my mom took the food over, and everyone kind of just huddled together and ate together that night. A lot of time also it's a time where you gather families together. For example, I am having my family over, so my parents and my siblings and their spouses and their kids are going to be coming over later tonight, and I'll be making them food with along with my wife to serve them food for iftar. So that will happen also very often. I have my friends coming over tomorrow. So a lot of times, like the only meals that me and my wife have ate together throughout the whole month so far has been only 3 meals out of maybe the last 16, 17 days. So maybe that's busy for some folks, but I think it's really enjoyable. It's something that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there wasn't that many mention of him eating food alone. Majority of the time, it was food that he ate with other people, food that he ate with his family. So all of that is encouraged to kind of do these aspects in groups. There's also most majority of the mosques will have some type of interfaith program to encourage those from other faiths to come and see the mosque and check out the mosque and what Ramadan looks like for Muslims in the month of Ramadan. So they'll invite local neighbors, friends that you may know. You invite them to the mosque, you kind of have a meal together, and they'll have a short talk about what Ramadan is, similar to what we're doing right now at Amazon, but kind of like with food available. So it's really nice too, and kind of encourages people to come out and check it out. So a lot of that is kind of there to encourage people to come together, to encourage people to gather in Ramadan and so on and so forth.
So for a non-Muslim like myself, it's very likely that I could do a quick Google search and be like, iftars that I can come to, and I could probably find some, yeah?
So depending if the website is up to date, but a lot of the
Okay.
times there'll be some type of Facebook group, there will be a phone
Sweet.
number to call. But even if you just look up mosques nearby on Google Maps, a lot of times you're the one closest to you. If it's a major one and they host these types of programs, you'll find some programs there. Majority of the ones that I've seen personally about around my area will do iftars and breaking the fast every weekend, because it's generally when more people are able to come out, and then they'll do it for the last 10 nights since a lot of people are in the mosque already. And then some people will kind of make more time during the last 10 nights to be able to attend more community events in the mosque.
Noted. Very cool. Thanks, Omar. Okay, Mimi, let's talk about other forms of prayer or worship that can be done. Prayer, maybe you would consider as a form of worship, but there's even more, if you can imagine, forms. So break that down for us.
Yes, there is. This one is my complete favorite. I love doing this both in solitude and with groups of people. It's amazing. It's called Remembrance of God, or dhikr. And so this is a way of devoting yourself to God. It can be short, it can be long, like saying the names of God, or there's 99 like well-known names. There are others, but the documented and important ones, there are 99. And then there's two kinds of dhikr. There's general, where you just remember God at any time and the messenger, and you can literally do it for unlimited quantities. They can also be recitations of the Quran, you can use tasbih, which are the beads that a lot of Muslims carry around. I personally love my beads. I actually have my beads right here, and I use them all the time. And they're just like the best way to keep count, and I love them. So my beads, my tasbih. And then there's specific dhikr, which is like dua and remembrance, which can be said in specific places and times with specific quantities and specific words, and they can be in the morning or the evening, before sleep, after prayer. Entering and leaving the house, there's certain like dua that you say, or supplications. And there's 5 etiquettes that you should be following during this time. So you need to always make sure that your mind is only on God when you're saying this. In a hadith, Allah said, "I am with my servant whenever he remembers me and moves his lips because of me." Reflect on the meaning of it. So it's really important that as you're saying it, you're also thinking of what it means. And then also the rewards that you get during this time that you're, saying these things, like the removal of rust, or purifying on the heart, or, to get closer to God, or give person shade on the day of judgment. There's so many. It's just amazing. Protection from your enemies and shields. And then there was a prophet who said to remember and praise God all the time, because it's the best deed to be considered in Islam and possible while doing literally anything. And then also to remember the favors that God shares to you. So overflow with that gratitude. So be grateful during this time. And then it also endows your heart with life. There's like a Sufi belief that the heart becomes overflowing with God's light, and so it brings that light and life to your heart and your soul. And then also try to be in a calm, quiet place. But also it's really good to have children during this time too, because the whole point is that your children should also be learning to do this. One of my favorite salawats that I do is in remembrance of the Prophet, and it's Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim, which is may God send our prayers, blessings, and peaceful greetings to the Prophet and his family. And you can chant it, you can just say it over and over. I love to chant it with like in a melodic way, just like you would do with the Quran. I know that we're going to kind of go over that in a little bit. If you want, I'm happy to do it for you a couple times so that you guys can hear it. I don't know.
Let's do it.
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. And then you just say it over and over.
Very cool. Thank you, Mimi. I know,
Yeah.
at least for me, prayer and forms of worship is like as personal as it gets. So I appreciate you being able to share that with all of us and give us some insights there. You mentioned the Quran. That is your holy book, if I'm understanding correctly. It's a guide. It's got a lot of incredible wisdom and ways of practicing and all the things. Komal, will you talk to me a little bit about how the Quran influences Ramadan and it is a part of Ramadan?
Absolutely. So Ramadan is considered the month of the Quran, mainly because the Quran, we believe that it was revealed during this month. So it's actually of like utmost importance. We try to follow everything that's kind of written in the Quran. One of the aims is this month to recite the Quran, the full Quran back, end to end in this month at least once. And I'll give you kind of some context about that. So the Quran has 30 chapters within it, and each chapter could take about an hour to recite. So if we kind of break down the month, you'd have 30 days. You can try and do an hour each day to recite a chapter. A lot of times, Muslims will also try and do more than one full recitation of the Quran, which is be 2 hours a day or more, or whatever their speed is, etc. Another way of also doing this is instead of just reciting in Arabic, a lot of us are not native Arabic speakers, is to read the translation of the Quran, either in your own language or in English, or read the Arabic and then read the translation and the commentary with it, which could then take much longer than an hour, right, for each chapter. So it really depends on what everyone wants to focus on. It could just be reciting the Arabic or trying to, go deeper into the meanings of the Quran, and that could be a personal preference. The aim is really to try to understand the Quran better and try to recite at least the full Quran at least once a month. The way I try and do it is take out an hour after my morning prayers every morning to recite a chapter. I find it really difficult to do it during the day once work starts. And then when work ends, I feel like it's time to start preparing for iftar and figuring out what we're going to eat. So then I don't have time to recite then either. Some people, the way they do it is, because we also have 5 daily prayers, is break that 1 hour into 10 to 15 minutes after each prayer, which is also doable. But I guess a lot of us with back-to-back meetings, it's hard to even squeeze in your daily prayers and make sure you're praying to be able to kind of have this additional time. So that's more in terms of technically, how do we cover or how do we try to make sure we're understanding the Quran a little deeper, or just being able to at least recite the full Quran this month. There's actually a science, and thanks Mimi for reciting that zikr. It was beautiful. I don't know if any of you might have heard, imams or Muslim scholars, when they lead prayers in congregation, they recite the Quran very beautifully, or in this melodic voice as well. And that science is called tajweed. Tajweed literally just means to adorn or beautify. And in the context of recitation of the Quran, it refers to the correct pronunciation. So there's very specific rules in terms of, how long to hold each letter, where to pause, where not to pause. So when you kind of follow all of these, it actually helps with the melodic recitation. A lot of Muslim scholars are trained in tajweed, but even those who are not scholars will try and take on, trying to learn the science of tajweed, just to be able to recite more beautifully for themselves. So yeah, I think it's actually, I personally did try to learn tajweed, so I know a bit of it. So I actually really enjoy reciting the Quran. I enjoy that 1 hour in the morning before work starts, because I'm looking forward to be able to recite and practice the rules I learned. So yeah.
So what time are you waking up? Come on.
Oh, so
When does
it's
the
after
alarm
the
go off?
morning. My alarm goes off at 5 in the morning, like
Okay.
4:45, 5 in the morning. It's not too bad. We eat before 6, or no, we eat before 5:40 in Toronto. So that's Fajr time over here. We pray and clean up, and then by 6 o'clock, I'm kind of starting to recite. So 6 to 7, I usually try and do that, and then start figuring out my day. Do I need to go into downtown, or do I need to work from home today? Yeah.
That in my head, I'm like trying to calculate, like, okay, an hour here, 15 minutes here, gotta make the smoothie, gotta wake up the fam, whatever.
You need to be
So
super like structured in
yes.
Ramadan, like you do. I agree.
Okay, well, we are coming to one of our last topics here, Edgar. Potentially the most practical, I would say, for everybody here on this call, whether you are Muslim or not. How can you support your fellow Amazonians that are observing Ramadan? Edgar, what would you say?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm in the fulfillment, I'm in the distribution centers, right? And so for me, I think it's super important that we look at those multi-faith spaces and that we're auditing them regularly, ensuring that they're clean, that they're maintained, that if they need an upgrade, right, great idea to get that done, adding plants, adding flowers, right, beautifying that area, I think is important, especially during Ramadan. It's super important for us in our tradition, right, that the area is clean and maintained. And so I think that's very important. And I think that's an opportunity I've seen as I've traveled throughout the sites into North America, that it is something that we should regularly do and audit those spaces, right? Another thing that we can do is also, an opportunity I've seen, ensuring that we have, an adequate and very engaged DE&I initiatives, right? And POCs and SMEs out there really driving DE&I. I think, one thing that we came up with this season is that, we had all these Ramadan decorations, all these things, and some associates said, well, what about these other holidays, right? And I think very valid, right? Let's get these other decorations going as well. So making sure that we're inclusive of other groups as well, just to make it a really fun environment that no one feels like they're kind of left out. Another thing is, if you're having lunchathons or lunch and learns and having meetings and ordering food, catering food, very important that we probably be considerate of people on our team who are observing and Ramadan and our fasting, or maybe scheduling those events towards iftar time or in the morning, or just thinking of different events that don't include food. I think it is very helpful as well. And also just something I've noticed, again, just as I'm part of this team, just being culturally aware of things. I think, I went to a site and I asked, like, hey, where's the multi-faith room? Like, hey, well, we don't have like people who use it here. They're Muslims, right? And I'm just in my head, I'm thinking, well, I use it, right? And just because externally or outwardly I don't look Muslim, right? I'm 100% Chicano, and you'll see me with the Raider hat, and you'll see me dressed like how I dress, and you wouldn't necessarily think that I'm a Muslim, but I'm not unique. There's so many others, especially right now. We're seeing a large groups of people entering Islam, and so very important that we're not bringing some of our, I guess, I would say like just some of our biases. I guess I don't know if that's the right word that I'm looking for, but just some of our just understanding that it is a diverse community and it's going to continue to be diverse. So making sure again that we're providing those spaces for everybody, I think is super important, very helpful. And then one thing that I will also recommend is purchase plenty of protein for the team. I think one thing that we saw here in Michigan, we see lots of attrition with attendance because people want to go home and eat, and there's not necessarily like healthy or protein packed options on site, and so they just PTO and leave. And so I think if we provide plenty of protein on site, it really helps with our attrition and just an overall better experience for associates.
Edgar, I'm personally so thankful that your site has you and that you've been able to be such a presence that really opens the door for people who look like they're Muslim and people who don't, and just saying like, hey, I'm here and I can make a difference. And my assumption is that if anybody has questions or like, hey, I'm really struggling with this with my site, like you and folks here on the panel would be more than happy to jump right in those weeds with you and try to figure it out. So if we have your blessing to reach out, I know that I'm sure there's people on this call that would appreciate that.
Of course. Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you. So our final question, we've got just a few minutes here. Eid holiday. Maybe give a brief, what is Eid? If I'm pronouncing that correctly, maybe start there. Yes. And also, what's your favorite tradition or experience with Eid?
Yes. So there's actually two Eids in the Islamic faith. The first is Eid al-Fitr, which comes after fasting. It's the celebration of the ending of Ramadan. And then Eid al-Adha is the festival of sacrifice. It's in regards to the sacrificing of the lamb from Abraham for, his son at the mountain, but not getting into that. Eid al-Fitr is at the end of Ramadan, and it's amazing. It's a huge celebration about fasting and ending the things and everything. I love it. My personal favorite thing to do during this time, my favorite tradition, is visiting family and getting with my community and giving out gifts or money or and praying together and eating together. It's like a big party. There are specific drinks culturally that we drink during this time in the Middle Eastern community, and so like I look forward to that. I'm like, yeah, so you only see these foods and these drinks during this time, so I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, here in the Bay Area, we do a lot of Eid festivals because some pretty good sized Muslim community in the Bay Area. So, since I was younger, we used to go to a very large festival that my mosque used to organize, where all the Muslims in the Bay Area used to come to in San Jose. But now the community has grown a lot, over the past 20, 30 years. So now, every mosque pretty much does a little mini Eid festival where they have food trucks and, carnival games and popcorn, cotton candy, and, so the kids really enjoy it, and it's a fun time for everybody.
Mal, what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say my favorite is just every time there's Eid, we have new clothes, and as Mimi was saying, just the food. There's very specific things my mom makes, and I enjoy them. And it's funny because you don't crave those things any other time in the year either. You just crave them at this point of the year, so it's fun. Yeah, and just preparing for it. Yeah, new clothes, getting the kids excited. It's always fun.
Yeah, I think for me it's the Eid prayer, the congregation. Here in Minneapolis, we'll use the I think last year we had Viking Stadium, so literally thousands of people coming to the Eid prayer there, and after that, taking the kids to the theme park and all those other things, and also continuing with the the act of giving. So on Eid day, giving charity on Eid day is one of my activities that I like to do personally.
For myself, it's mainly spending time with family, like Mimi mentioned. Generally, with just between me and my wife, we'll maybe go to my in-laws in the morning and then go to my family's place at night, or vice versa. This year, I'm actually trying to gather both families at my place. We have like a little community area with some barbecue grills and stuff like that. So, planning to have everyone come just after they pray and after they settle down at home for a bit, just come over for like lunch/dinner, and just we have gifts planned for the kids. So my wife ordered a bunch of stuff for them. We'll each give them like a small gift for Eid, to kind of just make a little bit of a tradition out of it, especially for them, so that they kind of enjoy that day as well, outside of the acts of worship that we might have throughout the day.
Edgar, bring us home.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I have 3 little ones, and my family isn't Muslim. I'm the first one in my family. So for me, I try to go as big as possible to establish these new traditions. So right, we go to Eid prayer, then we go unwrap gifts, then the kids go to their jitto, right, their grandpa, and then they go ask for their money, and then we go on vacation. We go to Laguna Beach. That's our new tradition, and thousands of Muslims go there as well. So it's a beautiful sight. And then we generally will go then on a vacation, a quick vacation. So we usually go to Carlsbad or San Diego. It's really close. Super fun.
That's awesome. I feel like I personally want to do like a tour of each of y'all's different Eids and just experience it all. It sounds all so fun and exciting and good vibes all around. Well, we are at time. Mimi, any closing remarks to the folks online?
Thank you all for joining. It's been a real pleasure being able to do this for the 3rd year. I am the head of Interfaith, so if you would like to do a video about any faith, not just Islam, we're open to any suggestions. Feel free to join us on our Slack group and ping me and my co-chair Sabine if you need anything. We're happy to support any streams, anything that you guys would like to do. We're here for it. I really encourage it, and we just have a wonderful community. So thank you all again for joining.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.